Have you heard over the years to step into your role as CEO or to learn to work on your business, not in your business? But what the heck does that even mean? You're listening to Business by the Books, the podcast that teaches you how to use your financials to manage your business. My name is Danielle Hayden. I'm the founder of Kickstart Accounting Inc, where we use bookkeeping as a vehicle to help business owners take control of their numbers. And I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs make informed financial decisions for over a decade. So, how exactly do you step into your role as a CEO? How do you learn to work on your business and not in your business? We're going to talk about today what is a mid-year check-in and why it's so important to this role, the exact questions to ask yourself to reflect on your numbers, and the process I use as a seven-figure business owner and former CFO. Now, first of all, what is a mid-year check-in and why are we doing this? So a mid-year check-in is about halfway through the year, an opportunity to pause and really look at your numbers. Now, I know so many of our listeners do look at their numbers every single month, but I want you to take this moment in time to dive a little bit deeper, to spend the time taking what we like to call a clarity break. Look at the numbers, meet with your money team, which includes your bookkeeper, your tax accountant, your financial advisor, and your CFO or business coach. Once you've met with those individuals, I want you to take some time for yourself to really think through what's working, what's not working in your business, and how you're going to start to close the back half of the year with intentionality and start to plan for next year. I know, sounds crazy that I want you to start planning now, but budget season's here before you know it. All right, so what exactly do we do during this process, right? Because that's still pretty vague. The first thing I want you to do when we're conducting a mid-year check-in as the CEO, the first step is to reflect on your business growth. This is the process of tracking what's happened quarter over quarter and then year over year. Now, our clients here at Kickstart Accounting Inc, every single one of our clients receive their monthly snapshot. And the snapshot is this easy to read document that at a high level, right? It takes you out of the weeds and allows you to step into your role as a CEO and look at numbers at a high level. Looks at your revenue quarter over quarter, right? Quarter one over quarter two, and then year over year. And this is so important so we can track the growth and we can ask ourselves, how has your business grown? And are you meeting your financial goals? And then what trends and patterns in your revenue can you track today that you're going to continue and stop immediately? Now, I don't want you to blow past the question, are you meeting your financial goals? Because remember, not every single business owner has the same goals. You guys have heard me talk about setting an intention. Back in January, we all set an intention for our business. Now, you might be in high growth mode, meaning that you're investing heavily in advertising and marketing, building a team. You want that hockey stick growth. Or you might be in a season where you're leaning into a lifestyle business. You are really more in maintenance mode. Therefore, you've taken the pedal off of spending in advertising and marketing, and you've built a sustainable team so you can serve your clients. And it's okay to be the CEO of your business and to love servicing your clients. I have Carol Cox from Speaking Your Brand on the show. We just recently recorded, and her episode's going to be airing soon. And she talked about how now that she is in maintenance mode, her spending has really changed in her business. The way that she is being intentional about her profits and what she's tracking, because she knows that she is in maintenance mode and they're not investing in a ton of advertising and marketing right now because they're not in high growth mode. They're using their numbers, they're making quick changes to adapt to the trends of the business, to be the trends of the economy, but not the goals, right? All right. So when we're looking at the trends and patterns in revenue, what we're doing is looking to see, have we had any dips? Is there any seasonality changes in quarter one and quarter two? And that means in 2023, that quarter didn't have a lull, right? Or a dip in revenue. But in 2024, it did. We need to look at why, right? What happened during this time, either in the economy or in where you're putting your personal attention. Now, I'll go back to Carol's story. It's fresh on my mind. She shared that she had to pivot her business after COVID. And so many of our clients had a very similar trend. There are several businesses and industries that had phenomenal growth post COVID. And as we've returned to what I like to call a new normal, business has leveled off. And we have now entered in a new era of business. And so, how have you had to pivot your business in this new normal post COVID? Maybe your business wasn't affected by COVID. Maybe there's some type of other seasonality or economic effect on your business. And by reflecting on this information, we can forgive ourselves. We can appreciate our growth as a business owner, right? Like, even if your business didn't grow, you as a person has grown. We can use this time to really celebrate what happened in our business, how we've been able to make decisions, what went well in our business. So when we're reflecting, this isn't to create shame. This isn't to create, see, you weren't a good business owner. You never saw the trends, right? There's so many of us who are reacting, right? We can't all see the trends in the future. But what's important is that we're recognizing them quickly and we're able to pivot our business smooth and with intention. All right, next, I want you to evaluate your financial health. Now, I want every single one of our listeners and every single one of our clients to run a healthy, profitable, and most importantly, a sustainable business. And that includes, how are you managing expenses? Now, I don't want everyone to go into cost saving mode. Yes, of course, we need to cancel unnecessary subscriptions. We need to depart with low performing employees or contractors. But I don't want us to think about this mid year check in point as a way of canceling the people who are supporting your business. This is not a cost saving opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to think about the expenses that I have in my business today. Am I able to manage them month over month? Are there any opportunities to cancel any unnecessary subscriptions, right? So 2 subscriptions, we're offering 2 different things. Now one offers both features in that subscription. Do we need to continue to pay for both, right? So always looking at the operation side of our business and canceling the subscriptions when necessary. And are we spending enough money in payroll that you as the business owner have enough energy to live a life? Because why are we doing this? Right? As business owners, why are we running this business if we can't enjoy our lives? And so, are you spending enough money to be able to have the support that you need in your business? Remember, more profit does not always equal a better business. We need to have a sustainable profit. We need to have a sustainable business. And we need to have a CEO who can sustainably come to work every day with energy and guide the business to serve clients. And if we're not spending enough to allow you as the business owner to do that, we need to evaluate the financial health of the business. So it's really looking at the profitability. Now, if you go back to episode 158, we talked about healthy spending in our business. And healthy spending in our business means paying you as a business owner and paying your team. A healthy business brings in about 10 to 15% of net income after you have been paid as a business owner and after you have paid your team. So that is a great way to see, do we have enough profit in our business to be able to continue to reinvest and grow the business, as well as pay you and your team so that we can all come to work with energy to serve our clients and our bigger mission. All right, next we need to think about strategic planning and what adjustments we're going to be making for the back half of the year. The last few episodes, we've talked about reforecasting and the importance of budgeting. I won't hang here for long, But if you're not ready to reforecast or build a budget for the next 12 months, so I love a budget. As a former CFO girl, I love the power of a budget. Every single time I make a business decision, I throw the numbers in my budget. I see what the impact is going to be on my net income. And that is how I make my decisions. Now, my personality style is very intuitive. So it is important for me, right? Like I can feel, like I can see how I feel about a decision, but I never make that decision without putting the numbers in the budget to see what the impact would be on the net income. And then I can decide if it's aligned with my goals or not. If you are not ready for the budget, I want you to at least think about, were there any milestones that you missed in the first half of the year? What strategies are working well for you today and which ones aren't? And then what are you going to pivot on the back half of the year so that you can adjust your focus for a better return of investment on your strategies? All right, I'm going to leave it there. It's painful for me. I want to keep talking about budgeting. I want to keep on talking about the back half of the year. But as long as you're thinking about it with intentionality and you're thinking about it strategically, I know you as a business owner are going to close out 2024 with intention. All right, lastly, I want you to think about your operational efficiency. Now, I know this is coming from an accountant. It's really important that we as business owners, when we're stepping into our CEO role as a business, that we are looking at how our operations are helping us in our business growth. Are there opportunities for automation, outsourcing, or hiring additional help? You as a business owner have the opportunity to sit in the seat of your zone of genius. That's why we all started a business, right? So that you can sit in the seat that you want to sit in. Stop doing tasks that you don't want to be doing. That includes bookkeeping. Is there marketing tasks that you don't want to be completing? Is there any area where you are not the expert, where that task can be automated, outsourced, or you need an additional employee? Now, as a special treat, I interviewed each of my account managers here at Kickstart Accounting Inc. These are the amazing women on my team who are working with our clients day in and day out. So they work with the bookkeepers, they work with our clients, and they are boots on the ground. And I asked each of them what they want to communicate with you, the listener, what they like to communicate to clients and business owners so that we can perform a strategic mid-year check-in and end this year with intention. So here's a few clips with my conversation from the Kickstart Accounting Inc. team. Sarah, welcome to Business by the Books.
Hi, happy to be here.
Very excited for this compilation. We are going to walk through how to help business owners, the listeners, use their financials during this mid-year point of the year. So this is the best time that we can reset. Maybe the first half didn't go as well as planned, or maybe we're killing it. What would you want to communicate to any business owner around their financials at this time of the year? Like, what should we be looking at?
I think we should be looking at the big picture. And sometimes if we don't talk to them that often, maybe we're only talking to them at this mid-year time. I want to know everything. So business updates, new revenue streams, staff updates, if they have new purchases that they're going to be making, like larger investment or just larger expenses coming out. Anything that'll help me project out the rest of the year for them.
So if somebody hasn't talked to their bookkeeper yet this year, that's kind of the list of things that they should come prepared, ready to talk to you about. Because I think that's one of the hurdles why people don't book, because they are like, I don't have any questions. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to ask. Like, you guys are scary.
I think one of the things that they don't realize is that we're actually interested in their business and we're interested in them. And we're not just plugging away, putting numbers where they belong. We're actually interested at how they're doing, how they're growing, what their goals are, how we can help them reach their goals. And also, if they have a goal and they're not reaching that goal, sometimes they're scared and they don't want to talk about it. So they just avoid us.
Yeah.
When we're really here to help and we can see more into the numbers to help them reach their goal.
Oh, that's a good point. So even when we're scared of what the numbers will say, I call it like the report card effect, right? Like, if you get grounded for doing bad in school your whole life, and then all of a sudden you become a business owner and your your accountant's sending you these numbers that are telling you, did you pass or fail the quarter? And it's really not a pass or fail if we can approach it with a curiosity of like, what are the numbers saying? And then how can we use those numbers to close the back half better than the first half?
Yes. And that's why we try to do a good job of like no judgment. We're not here to say like, well, this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work. It's more like, why didn't this work? And what can we do to make it work so that the next thing that you try to do can increase your profitability?
Yeah, for somebody who's scared to book a call, right? Like it can be really intimidating to talk about your money and your numbers. No matter how nice I think we are, it can still be really intimidating to get on, on a call.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person who's just literally scared of us?
I usually try to just be like, let them relax, like talk to them. I let them know that I'm just as human as they are. So my life is a mess. Everything's hectic. I'm still, working, kids, life in general, that we're the same people. We're doing the same thing. We just might have different goals, but that they can be open and vulnerable with us. And we're not judging them. We're like really just there to help them.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite client questions? Because I think that's the other thing where like, I think we naturally say, well, let us know if you have any questions. Book a call if you have any questions. And people are like, well, what the hell am I even supposed to ask you? Like, I don't know what questions to ask you. So, what are some of your favorite questions that you get from clients to spur someone's thoughts or curiosity?
I like the more like in-depth ones. So I like more when they reach out and they're like, I really want to hire this person, but I'm not sure if I can afford it, or if they have enough work for them. Like they know they need an assistant, but maybe they don't have enough for 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week,
Taking that leap.
or they want too much money, or, like, so really being able to use the numbers to help them make those decisions. I like when they have questions that we can measure. So things that are measurable, um, and we can create a KPI on, because when there's things like that, that helps them continue scheduling calls, because now they know we're tracking something for them. And every month they want to revisit and see how they're doing, if they're staying on track and all of that. It makes the call more interesting when you have specific things to talk about.
I can hear people saying, like, oh, I didn't know I can do that. Like, I didn't know what to ask or what to have you track. And I didn't know that I could track something. I think it's a good reminder, like our snapshot and the financials that we give are like that high level. And from there, that's like the starting point to figure out where to go next. Like if we can start at a high level, we can see some of the big picture issues, which can then guide our discussion in the right direction to then be able to dig deeper where needed.
Right. I also love when they ask where their cash is,
Oh,
because
yeah.
so
I
many
love
of
it.
them, they don't know. Like they know, but they don't know. And they don't know it until they see it on paper. And once they see it like in a report broken out where every single dollar is going, it like a light bulb goes off. And they're like, okay, now let's dig deeper into certain expenses. And that's also another favorite, is when they're like, what can I cut? I'm like, let me tell you. And then we can go through the list and really dive into what they need or what they don't need.
Um, for somebody who doesn't have a bookkeeper, what do you think is the biggest benefit for somebody to have that money team?
I think just in general, knowing that everything is reconciled in the correct spot, your banking is accurate, credit cards are accurate, but you're tracking the expenses, because a lot of times people sign up for subscriptions and forget about them, or they have their card on file for this and they think they canceled it months ago, and they're not really paying attention because they don't have a bookkeeping software or anybody paying attention to it to point out things that are like reoccurring, that we're like, I thought you canceled this subscription, but it's still coming back. It's almost just like a second set of eyes to make sure that everything's accurate, but also that we're there to help them so they can focus on something else, because they're people I feel like that don't have the bookkeeping team are the ones that are scared of it. So they think they can do it themselves, but they're better at something else. So they should be spending their time doing what they're good at and leave it up to us to
Yeah.
do what we're good at.
Their zone of genius. Like they didn't come into business to do bookkeeping, accounting, really the business side of running a business. They're there to do their craft. I do, when people ask the ROI, like the return on investment of our services, or like what does it mean to have something done for you? I think it's important to remember that this is really more done with you, right? Because you can get the financial statements until you're blue in the face, but if you're not reading them, if you're not booking the calls, if you're not engaging with us, then that's a limitation on your return on of investment. And we really need this to be more of a partnership. So with that being said, is there anything that you want to remind any business owner, whether they're working with us or another team, any reminders you want to give them?
I think the biggest thing would be that even though it may not seem big to them, like a random purchase at a store might not be a big deal to them, but it's important for us to know so that we put it where it needs to go to help them manage those certain expense categories that they're spending a lot of money in. A lot of people do a lot of cost of goods sold, and or not cost of goods sold, but they could be one or the other. So without us knowing that, it's hard for us to track profitability, gross profitability, without knowing which is which. And the more that they tell us and keep us informed, the better that we're going to be and be able to help them.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
We'll get back to the show in 1 second, but real quick. Are you an entrepreneur or business owner struggling with the complexity of tax deductions and salary structures for yourself? It's common to feel lost in the maze of tax regulations and unsure about how to effectively pay yourself from your business. Navigating these challenges can be daunting, leaving you with more questions than answers. But what if there's a way to simplify this process, ensuring you maximize your deductions and set up the most beneficial compensation strategy for yourself? That's exactly what our guide on the top tax deductions for every business owner and how to pay yourself as a business owner are for. These resources are designed to demystify the essentials, helping you understand and leverage tax deductions and outline a clear, effective strategy for your salary as a business owner. Through these guides, you'll learn the key deductions you shouldn't miss, strategies for tax-efficient salary and owner's draws, and much more, ensuring you're financially optimized and compliant. So if you're ready to take control of your financial health with confidence, head over to kickstartaccountinginc.com/gift or click the link in the show notes and download your free resources today. Okay, back to the show. Becky, welcome to Business by the Books. Excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, today we are talking about financials for business owners, how they can review their numbers, especially at this time of the year. We can do this at any time of the year, but it's really important that we're taking a pulse at this mid-year checkpoint of what we want to communicate to business owners and how they can use their numbers to close off this back half of the year. So what is kind of like the number one thing that you would love to tell kind of all your clients, all the business owners who are listening? What's that number one thing that you would want to tell them about their numbers right now?
I think the biggest thing that some people don't even think about is they should already be thinking about their goals for 2025. I think they really need to take the pulse check for the first 6 months of this year, see where they're at, what are their goals, whether it be they want to start paying themselves more, whether they want to even start getting on payroll, they want to hire someone. Like now is the time to start thinking about that and planning that out for the year. I think it's super important that they're constantly focused on forward, like how you're always telling us, focus on the forward. I think that's just as important for our team members as it is our clients, because it takes time to put things in motion. So looking at operating subscriptions, are they utilizing them? Can they make a change this year, or do they need to wait until do it next year? But getting that calendar reminder set up, things like that, I think are really, really important that they don't realize they should be thinking about right now.
It's a really good point, because even for us internally, it happens. Like, we use Member Vault for our internal training, and it just sneaks right back up on you, where we couldn't even get our information out of the system to move softwares, because we are just in it and we're just in the business and we're running and we're moving so fast that we forget to watch what's coming. So that's a great reminder.
I think when it's come up in even just meetings this week, the light bulb goes off, and it's, they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about income streams and things, other things. So it's really making sure you're on a client by client basis and you're really informed of what that client's doing, how their first 6 months of this year is going, what their goals are already for 2024, if they're even close, and then how we can help them prepare for 2025 in enough time to make those big decisions.
What is something that you would want to communicate to a client who has not booked a call, or to a listener who maybe doesn't have the opportunity to book a call with their bookkeeper? Like, I think there's a lot of fear, and there's a ton of stories that are going on in our head about money and what you're going to say to me and how you're going to judge me.
We're not scary. We're easy to talk to, and we really do care. I think they kind of in their mind know that we care, but we really do. And I think we can try to bridge that gap through emails, even a little text message like thinking of you, cheering you on, let us know if you want to chat. But maybe just trying to follow up, aside from the monthly financials that we send them, a little note here or there. Have you thought about your goals? Here's a podcast I thought you might like. Trying to bridge that comfort level so they know, like, hey, they really are on my side. They're rooting for me. And another thing, like a big initiative we've been doing across the company, is celebrating their wins. Even if they don't talk to us and we see it, celebrate it. Ask them the questions. What have you been doing the last 6 months that have caused this? We noticed this. Like, highlighting that we do notice without them calling, but then putting that link in to say, hey, book a call with us. We want to hear from you.
Yeah. I think that sometimes it's hard as business owners. Like, we don't know what we don't know. So we're just in it, right? You're just looking at your numbers. So as a business owner, you're only looking at your numbers. You have no idea how you're comparing to anybody else. And sometimes you just don't even know what questions to ask. So when people say, let me know if you have any questions, you're like, well, what the hell would I even ask you? I don't know.
One thing I think,
what are some of your favorites?
I like to ask, what do you have coming down the pipeline? Tell me about what you have that you anticipate over the next quarter, over the next 6 months. And that tries to get them talking about, maybe leading into talking about their goals. If, have designers that are talking about changing their billing structure and how they're working with that. And then it's like, how's that working? Is it coming, or anything coming in? Is there anything we can help you with pricing and things like that? So really to get them talking, like, so what's going on? What's coming up the next couple months? And two, it leads them into them realizing that some of these things, oh, I'm opening a new bank account. Oh, I just got a new credit card. So it leads them into telling us about things that they have coming up that they may not even have thought we really needed to know.
We talk a lot about creating a safe space and no judgment, and that we really care. What do you think we do differently that creates that safe space for clients?
We always make sure we're leading with a warm, welcoming tone, that we want them to know that we've got them. We're there to take care of them and that they matter. I think one thing that we really do a good job of is we do prepare for our meetings, and they know when we're talking to them, we're talking about them. It's not another person in their industry that they have. There may be comparisons that they ask about, without getting into the weeds of another client, because that's a big no-no. Like, we make sure they know we're talking to them. Like, it's them. It's your numbers. It's your books. It's your goals. It's for you. So I think across the board at Kickstart, we do an amazing job of making them know, like, you matter. We're on the call for you right now, and this is all about you. So I think we do a great job at that.
If I am struggling to start to think forward, right, going back to your initial comment about the best thing we can do at this mid-year point is start to think about 2025. If I'm struggling to even start that, is there anything that you would say how to get into a frame of reference to start thinking through that?
So I think one thing that I've done recently is I'll make their last 6 months into a really easy either their PDF or an Excel with comments, and I'll add comments like, are you still using this? Does this work for you? Start getting them thinking about what they're bringing in as far as income, what they have projected down the pipeline, and then again, all of their expenses. Are you still utilizing this? Do you need X, Y, and Z? So it's really just highlighting it, making it easier for them to understand, to start thinking about. And then I say, hey, let's regroup in a couple months. Budget season's going to be here before you know it. Let's see how we can help you start develop those things, and really pushing forward to getting them to have another conversation, to follow up again. Like, okay, you're talking to me now, but it's just as important to keep talking to me. I understand the summer's busy, but in September, let's get back together. Let's have a longer call. Let's really focus and regroup on some things. Another thing we've been starting to do is add calendar reminders. If they talk about a goal that they have, we'll put a calendar reminder to say, I remember this is coming up. Like, or have you thought about making this meeting with me? So just the little tiny things that we can do to help them, again, partner and know that we care and we're listening.
Awesome. Thank you for being
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Aubrey, welcome to Business by the Books.
Thank you for having me.
Super excited for this conversation where we are walking through for business owners to help them understand how to use their numbers specifically at this mid-year checkpoint. We're hearing from some clients that this year didn't go as planned. They're not hitting their goals. They're not hitting their budget. We're hearing from other clients in some industries that are just killing it, bypassing their goals. We have to pay them more. We have to be assessing their reasonable compensation. So what is your favorite thing for clients to look at this time of year?
I think a lot of people have already set goals at the beginning of the year and invested a lot of money in certain areas. So like 6 months is a really good checkpoint to see like if that investment has paid off, and if it's showing in their sales, but also just like reflecting on, what's working, but also what's not working. But it's right at that time of year where like you still have time to pivot. So if you're not making that mid-year check-in or really looking at your numbers in that way after making all of those intentional goal setting at the beginning of the year, that could keep going, either in lost money,
right. Lost time, lost money.
Yeah. And I think a lot of clients too, no matter if their business is doing better or worse, like get really nervous to kind of look at that, and just making that mid-year, if they don't make any other meetings, like that mid-year checkpoint can reduce a lot of that stress. And it gives us the time to like set intentionality for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we're so scared of seeing our numbers that our numbers might tell us that we're failing. But what if they give you a clue so that you don't hit rock bottom and that you can prevent from falling any further? Or your gut is wrong and you're actually doing way better, which is normally the case for most of our clients.
Like most of them. Yeah. It's the story they're telling themselves. Yeah.
Tell me about comparative data. Like when we compare this year to last year, like what are you seeing? Like what's the sense from your clients? Like when you get on a call and you start talking about that comparative data?
We always pull up like this time of the year versus how we were doing at this time last year. And they see the numbers and they're in it most of the time, like day-to-day operations, that they don't have the time to like celebrate that increase. And they might not even know it's there. And so it gives us a time to like reflect, okay, well, what are we doing this year that we weren't doing last year? Because not all of the time it's a goal that they set and know they're intentionally doing. We had one client where she was honestly shocked by how much her sales had increased. And so I asked her, well, like, what was there something that changed? Thinking like she had invested a little bit more into advertising. So we're like, was that it? No, she had to think about it. But right before the beginning of the year, she had adjusted like some administrative processes that she didn't really intentionally think would then increase but it actually increased the amount of times her employees were able to see patients. And that made all the difference. Yeah. And it was just that it wasn't anything like intentional, really. It was just kind of a shift in administrative process. And it changed
Operational efficiency.
all over. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something to look at too. Like if, you aren't meeting your goals, is there something that you can be doing to take like outsource, or is there something you can automate? Like I know we've done that a lot this year. To kind of reduce where you're putting your time too. That's expensive.
I think we forget that for our clients, for them to think about numbers can be so fact driven, so data driven, that they can also leave clues about their energy. Like, yeah, you're super profitable, but you're killing yourself in the process, or vice versa.
Yep. And that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So like, what can you do to remove that? We take out the expense grading worksheet. We did this for everyone like halfway through the year last year, but I think it's a good reminder for people that are new to us too. Like there's so many owners that are paying for duplicate subscriptions that they don't know about, or like something they're not even using anymore. And just those little expenses do add up. So if they're overspending halfway through the year, like really nailing down, okay, what are we actually not using anymore in the business can help.
So in our services, we offer a call. We send our clients their snapshot, their financials. So the snapshot, easy to read document, high level overview of their numbers that can then guide the conversation to what needs more attention. But in the calls, we hear a lot of resistance, although I think we're super friendly. I hear a lot of resistance to booking those calls. And sometimes I think it's just as simple as, I don't have any questions and I don't know what to talk to you about. What are some of your favorite client questions?
I would say I think what are you most proud of? And it doesn't always have to be numbers based, but I think that the CEO thinks of everything going on around them, but don't take the time to look at what they're proud of in their role. So I like to ask that and just reminding them to celebrate, because somebody that busy never ever takes a moment to celebrate. But also what's not working. The best thing to ask would be if you were to step away, we have everyone going on vacation right now. If you were to step away from the business, is it still going to function properly? Because that triggers a lot of now I can set intentional goals, or is there a process I need to change? It just brings up something different than the average, how my numbers looked this past month.
Is there any other trends this year that you're seeing?
I would say the beginning of this year, we had a lot of people that weren't getting returning clients or returning customers in specific industries. But honestly, I think you kind of saw it all over. And it could be because of the economy. But I think just being able to hear that from clients too gives us the opportunity to share what other people are doing to kind of overcome those issues or just struggles. But that has been something kind of trying to get creative on advertising or what you can do to get kind of that retention, keep that retention long term.
For anybody who's scared to book a call or their bookkeeper doesn't offer calls, what's something that you would say to them?
I would say that I don't think it ever is as bad as you think it is. I think we get that a lot with brand new clients that have either had some rocky, relationships with a prior bookkeeper or have never had one before, are so nervous to just see their numbers for the first time, thinking it's going to be bad. And most of the time, those people, it's they're actually doing really well and have no idea of where it is. So even just educating them on why they are and, what those healthy percentages look like. So being able to see that, I think, puts a lot of people at ease And then it lets you be able to like take on the rest of the year.
What do you think is the biggest benefit in having a money team?
We say this all the time, but like really to have that accountability partner. So like we talk a lot about business goals, and we'll even revisit, like, have any of those shifted or priorities changed? But then making sure we're bringing that to the forefront, and do the numbers prove what we had set or what we have invested in?
Yeah, I think it's easy to let the bookkeeping slide to the background, especially because it's not tax season, right? Like it's not tax time right now. So it's really easy to ignore your numbers. It's easy to ignore your money team. If you're doing your own bookkeeping, it's easy to ignore the bookkeeping in general, because let's face it, who wants to do it? And when you have that money team, like we're showing up in your inbox regardless, like no matter what, even if you don't want to talk to us, we're still showing up in your inbox and giving you the opportunity to just be able to look at the numbers, right? Like you don't have to make this big, I have to spend the afternoon getting into QuickBooks, which I hate, and blah, blah, blah. Like you have the opportunity to just read the snapshot and stay at a high level and to stay in your zone of genius.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think we hear all the time, the shock of tax season has just gotten over. So like them not knowing how much they're going to spend. And I mean, we already do that in our snapshot, kind of preparing them for those tax savings. And I think mid-year is a really good time to like even reanalyze that to see the direction that this year is going so far. But I think that like just having that in front of you reduces that like huge shock when it comes to file taxes.
Yeah. So just to elaborate, in our snapshot, we include for every single one of our clients the tax reserve amount. So not necessarily what you need to pay in your estimated taxes, that is provided in your prior year tax return, but it's based on this year's income, how much we suggest that you have saved. And so there's so much anxiety. I use this reference all the time. My mom always said, we're going to pay taxes and die. Yet I ironically am in this business where everyone's shocked every tax season. Like they're so surprised. And I'm like, what are we surprised about, guys? Like we know we're going to pay taxes. And so we can take away the surprise element to it and take action and responsibility for ourselves and for our business and be saving throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Any last words of wisdom or thoughts?
I just think if you haven't booked your mid-year check-in, do it. And I mean, especially if you're a KSA tax partner client, those are getting ready to come around the corner. So this is a great prep for that, just to focus on the business. So you're really prepared for that tax check-in too.
All right. Thank you for being here. All right. This episode was a lot. I hope that from here, you can feel confident in stepping into your role as CEO. I hope that you can feel a little bit more confident when you hear people talking about working on your business, air quote, and not in your business. I encourage every single one of you, book some time with your money team. You should be meeting with your bookkeeper. Every single one of our tax clients, we do a mid-year check-in with them. And this is so that we can be really prepared for tax season. So meet with your CPA, meet with your financial advisor, talk to your business coach. And if you don't have a CFO, it is time to start thinking about the future of your business. So after you've met with your money team, do not forget to celebrate your accomplishments. The fact that you've listened to this episode, oh my gosh, you guys, this is going to set you up for success. When I worked in corporate as a CFO, this is what my CEOs spend time on. This is literally actually how we grew the business and how we made business decisions, by tuning into the numbers, on reflecting on the strategy, creating action steps to lead into our intention for the back half of the year and for next year. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here today. Now go take action.